Hey guys, my guest for today is a very, very, very close friend of mine. She has the go-to platform, Peppa Your Talk. I am talking about Dior.
That was the most epic introduction. I was just like, this girl has studied my Instagram, my website.
Obviously, I know you for like years, but I'm so happy to have you here, Dior.
Same.
This is funny because you literally messaged me saying, oh, I'm coming to Amsterdam. I picked you up from the airport. I was like, girl, I'm really busy this week. And now look at this. You're here.
We always make it work. We always make it work.
This is so unexpected, but I love it. And that's what I love about these things. Not everything has to be planned, you know?
And don't you think it's crazy that we've never done this before? Like, we've actually never worked
together.
We've
worked together in Ghana.
Actually, we did.
Remember? Like, what I love is that now people really get to hear the conversations that we normally have on the phone. We've done something in Ghana, which is, what was the name again?
Ghana Fashion Connect. Yeah.
And still, people ask us sometimes, like, are you still going to do something in Ghana with Dior? And we're like, what?
One day, maybe.
Maybe one day.
Yeah.
But it was so random. We're definitely going to talk about that too.
Yes.
But yeah, definitely happy to have you here.
I'm happy to be here.
Before we are going to start,
these questions.
I've got these stories of young cards, which, yeah, you've already seen them. But I'm going to explain it for the people that haven't seen these cards yet. These are the cards that we created to start conversations. Right. I've picked up one card for you.
I'm scared, Ashlee. I ain't going to lie.
And I want you to read the question out loud, answer it, and I'll let you, maybe in the middle of this conversation or after this, pick another card. But it depends on what you're going to say.
Let me get myself ready. Okay. So good question. My question is love or success? I am a very big romantic. I'm not emotional, but I love romance. It's weird. And success for me is about purpose and fulfilling the purpose that God gave you before, like you were predestined. Like it was what you have to do in the world was there before you were even in the world. So I'm definitely... it's the same thing for me, you know, because God is love and success is fulfilling your God-given purpose. So I don't think you can pick.
You can. No, you're trying to be so smart.
I don't think you can pick.
You just gave the perfect answer, but I want the right answer.
It's the truth.
It's the truth, but which one would you choose?
I will pick success. Actually, because I think it's more important. When we say love, I automatically went to romantic love. Actually, love is a form. Mm-hmm. But I would say success because I think it's more important to fulfill what God brought you here to do, and that could be love. I could be successful in love. Always have to switch it up.
You are so smart.
There you go.
No, I gave you this card because obviously we always have conversations about our relationship, romance, but God, friendship, family, but then also our careers. Yeah. And we've known each other for like, I think 8 years now, maybe longer.
Maybe I've known of you since I was like 17.
Yeah.
But we didn't talk.
We didn't talk then. So the funny thing is what I can remember, and I don't know if that's the same thing you can remember, but back in the days we used to go to Ghana every December, which we still do. Yeah. But we're grown now, so we do other things. But you used to go to parties in December. And I remember we were at the airport, Schiphol, and you made a transit to Amsterdam. That's literally
that's how we became friends.
Yeah, that's how we became friends. Yeah, because you came up to... The funny thing is, I think you were reading my blogs, right? Something like that. And then... Or Style by You, it was Style by You times.
Yep.
And you were like, oh, how are your fashion events going? But before that, a friend of us introduced us together already, but we didn't really.
That is so crazy. Yeah. It's so, I remember I said like, oh, we haven't done anything together. And you're like, yes, we have. And then I instantly remembered. And then you brought up the airport and now, that is actually.
Is that where it started?
That is 100%. Yeah. I love going up to people. I hate just like, I know someone and I'm just going to sit there and ignore them.
I really love that about you. I can like sometimes just be shy or just like, I don't always feel like talking to people, which is so funny. But okay. So what I love about our friendship also is because I study fashion, you study fashion too, you worked in the fashion industry, and I did that as well. And I remember like back in the days, I always wanted to live in London.
Yeah, you were obsessed.
I was obsessed with London. Like I used to text you all the time, I want to move, and da-da-da. And the funny thing is, and I don't even know if you remember that now, but you used to work for Burberry, and you would tell me, I think you were at the PR department.
Yeah, PR and marketing. Yeah.
And you would explain to me what you guys were doing. And one time I think you even said like, oh, maybe you can do internship here or something like that. It was like long time ago. But for me, during that time as like, a black girl in fashion, I noticed that working in fashion, also studying fashion, I missed so many things, right? So for me, I started Style by You, organizing fashion events and styling courses to help other people, but also to kind of do what I wanted to do, right?
Create your own lane.
Yeah, and for you, that started with Peppa Your Talk. But can you tell me a little bit more first about your career at Burberry, and then
move on how I got to here. I always say I went from education to employment to entrepreneurship. So I got my job first of all a month after I graduated. So I was literally like,
wait, how did you get the job? Let's start there.
That's
so I got
it a month after. And I was working first I was working in the Burberry store, in a department store, Burberry department. Yeah. And then they said, you want to work in the sample cell, which is in the head office. So I was like, of course, this is my opportunity. I always wanted to be a PR girl. So I was like, okay, I'm going to print off my CV, hand it in. The opportunity came, I wasn't prepared for it. I was not confident. I didn't hand in my CV when I was there. I would walk around like the PR department and I literally felt so small, like a small fish in this big pond. And the feeling that I get now is how I like comfort students, is that the feeling I got then was that I was the most educated I'd been in my whole life. I was a graduate, I had my degree, but I was the least experienced out of absolutely everyone. And that gave me it wasn't even imposter syndrome, because I didn't even feel like I belonged anyway, like to feel like an imposter. I just felt like
this was not for you.
Yeah, like it was just so, I'm a confident person in life, but in that arena.
I know, and I've been exactly in that position as well, because in fashion, there's so many big personalities. And it looks like they all know what they're doing. So for you to get there in a space that you've never been before,
it's
and
difficult.
there's not even time to like help you.
No.
So they really,
everyone's focused on a mission, busy, everything's urgent. So anyway,
especially in PR,
super, especially in PR. So I was working in the sample cell. He wasn't a security guard. He was the head of APP, so like asset and profit protection, so security for the business.
Okay.
He noticed me and he was like, "You've been working so hard. What do you want to do?" I told him. Long story short, he told a woman in the press samples office that I was his cousin. Random. Black people supporting black people. It's so important. It's so important.
Yeah.
And then I got a 5-week internship. Killed it, did everything I needed to do to impress my boss, and then I was extended. I became permanent basically, and then I stayed for 2.5 years. So that was like a serendipitous moment, like fate just aligned with my goals.
And what was your first position when you started there?
Press samples assistant.
Okay.
So basically I was in the press office with all the samples from runway to children's collection, mini-me collection, Burberry men's. That's when Burberry was split into like Prorsum, runway, Brit, London, accessories. Everything was like literally behind my desk, and then we would fulfill press requests for like magazines, as well as internal requests for all the departments that need access to the samples, and then special projects with like VIP and all this type of stuff.
That is so cool.
It was so cool, honestly. And like the press samples office is the hub of the office because everyone needs access to press samples. So there was like 1,000 knocks on the door. Our room had to be locked because obviously it's like high worth items.
Yeah, of course.
So like the door would constantly be knocked and I was closest to the door. So it was great because I got to meet so many people. Like I'd always be the one greeting them, like what you need, what you want, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it was good.
Okay, this, if I think about this, it sounds like the perfect job and the space to be in, especially for a fashion graduate, right?
Yeah.
So what made you now say, you know what, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to start my own thing? Because that's a huge step.
Do you know what? Like, it's always huge when you look back on it. Like at the time, it's just your life. And life never feels bigger than us. It's just what you're dealing with and you just get on with it. So I knew that I had kind of overstayed. I was there 2.5 years. In a junior position, especially the position I was in, I had learned everything I needed to learn on that level within maybe 1.5 years. So that extra year that I was there was good.
But it was easy. It was easy.
And my manager was pushing me to have more responsibility. But I didn't want it because I knew that my main thing was that I wasn't utilizing my best skills. And that's something I always say to students and graduates, or whoever wants to enter fashion, like you would do things that don't necessarily enhance your strengths. And you're not going to be fulfilled in life if you don't play to your strengths. You're not. You could learn new skills and you can add that to your toolkit and you can have this hybrid list of skills and be highly, highly skilled in so many different areas. But if you are not playing to your strengths, you are not going to be fulfilled because there's a reason.
But how do you know
what your strengths are?
Yeah.
I have a very strong belief that who we are now is intrinsic, like it's in us and it's linked to who we've always been since we were children. So I do an activity with like some of the girls in my network and I always say, tell me about the things you enjoyed when you were young. And they'll say needlework or this or that. And I'm like, is there an aspect of that in your life now? Yes, in some ways. Or actually, I feel like I'd be more fulfilled in my life now if I did more of that stuff.
So if it isn't, then you know that you need to go back
trace it back,
Okay, but now looking back at you just leaving Burberry, how did your family, friends, how did everybody react? Because I remember when I worked for Michael Kors 2 years and I worked in the store. And it was like my family was so happy, like, oh my God, Ashlee works for Michael Kors and we got 50% discount. So my whole family literally had a Michael Kors product. And I think, sample sales, all these things. But for me, I remember one day I called my mom. I was like, Mama, I think I'm gonna quit my job. She's like, no, Michael Kors, such a good job. And I told her this is literally what I said. I said, I work for Michael Kors. Every day I work for him, he's getting richer and richer. Who's gonna work for me one day? I need to build my own, right? And she was like, okay, that's true. So at least my mom understood it, but I think the rest of my friends and family were like, why would you leave this perfect job?
And I get that. I get that because like, for me, I wouldn't say I was supported. I was just kind of like, Dior, do what you gotta do. Not in like a, we back you, but it's just like, you're gonna do it anyway. So
they know.
Exactly. And I get it because I guess people want the best for you, and the best in a parent's eyes or in like a family member's eyes is where you're most protected. And you're most protected when you're in a company with a salary, with a good reputation, and all these benefits or whatever. But like I said, I wasn't playing to my strengths. And I think I've always had like a very strong, I always say I'm not the most confident person. I'm confident, but not the most confident person in the world. But one thing I do have is like high self-worth and high self-esteem. Like I value my opinion of myself above everyone else. Like you could tell me something about me, I'll take it on board and I'll learn from it. But if I don't think that thing about myself, then I'm not gonna allow you to stress me.
So how is the support in London then?
In what sense?
In the creative industry. Like, do you feel like the Black creatives or just creatives in general support each other? Because you just said you didn't have your family that supported you. They were just like, okay, Dior, cool, just do whatever. Did you have other people that supported you, like in the creative scene?
Good question. I was so intentional about building a network around me. And it took me like 2 years, I guess, to like really find the right people. I didn't find the wrong people. I just really had to find my tribe.
How? Because you definitely have your tribe in London.
I do. I really do. I went to event after event. I literally called myself like an event whore, like as a joke. I would be at like 4 events a week by myself. I didn't really mind. I would go, I'd sit at the front. I'd always ask like intelligent questions. I'd always connect with the speakers, people in the room, whoever's sitting next to me, I'd make friends with them. And just made sure that I had the right like energy and the right kind of creative people and people who I didn't know how to explain what I wanted to do. That was the difficulty. And I get why my family were a bit like, what are you doing? Because I didn't really know.
Because when you quit Burberry,
I did like a year of YouTube. That was like 1 year, 1 year of
But that's
YouTube.
when Peppa Your Talk really started, right? So how long after you left Burberry did Peppa Your Talk
Yeah, good question.
Yes.
I left in December 2015.
Yeah.
Went to Ghana for a month. I think that's when we did our event.
That's when we did
It
our
must have been that year.
Yeah.
And then came back in January and I was like, oh, okay.
Now what?
Got a little bit, I think I had like 5,000, like minor money.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. I actually don't know what I'm doing. I've registered the business. So I just did YouTube for a year. I think it was Sunday or Monday, I put out a video just speaking about the journey to create the business, which I didn't know what I was doing, but I was authentic with it. I'd literally just sit in front of the camera, speak on a theme.
Yeah, I remember this.
And then that kind of built traction and people were interested, and that built my personal brand as well. And then eventually I launched the website, and then from there I was just winging it. I'm not even gonna lie. That first year, genuinely, I probably made like £200.
In a year?
In a year. I'm not even joking, seriously.
So wait, how did you survive, first of all?
I had savings.
Okay.
I lived simple. I always say this, I took all the bills off my body. Like, no nails, no eyebrows, no weave, no...
That's it. Like, people really need to understand, and this is something that we also always talk about, that yes, they see the nice and the fancy parts of us on Instagram, but the struggle behind it is real, and you just have to let go of a few things, such as nails, your hair. It sounds so silly, but these are important. Yeah, especially in the industry that we are in, where your look is your business card. That's how you present yourself, with your hair, your nails, the way you look. Now you have to let go of all these things
and really find yourself and find yourself. Introduce yourself in a way that speaks for the things that you lack. Do you know what I mean? Like, I really have to show up. If my outfit isn't, I don't know. It was difficult. I don't think anyone, like not my family, not my friends, knows how internally it was such a uphill battle. Like,
so where did you find your strength?
I think just in knowing that I'm never gonna give up on myself. Never. It's not an option for me. Like,
and also God, right? Because we also have conversations about God. Yeah. Where you always, I know that you read a lot you pray a lot. Yeah. So that's also something that we always talk about.
Without God, even now when I like advise young professionals about their careers, I'm like, are you a Christian? Because I cannot have this conversation.
If you're not a Christian.
I can have the conversation if you're not a Christian, but I'm going to bring up God.
Yeah.
Because there's certain principles and certain depths of strength that I need you to tap into. And if you don't believe in something...
How are you going to...
I don't know how you're going to pull it out of you. Like, so definitely God, definitely a lot of journaling, and just keeping myself in an inspiration zone, like in a zone of what inspires me and how do I repeatedly do that so I maintain my mindset and that's been the biggest journey, I think, of everything. Like,
do you read it back, your journal?
It's difficult to, Do you have a journal?
Do I have a journal? I write in different ways. So I do have a journal where I used to write in. I stopped doing that, and now I have a journal where I document. I don't write, it's just visuals. Okay. So it's like every day, or when I have something interesting going on, I take a picture and it's in my notes.
I like
that. And that's literally like, I'll see like Monday, I did this and this and this. And so that's how I journal things. I don't write really. I don't really write anymore.
I think it's really important too.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we don't really...
I wouldn't read it back though. Like,
it's difficult.
It's difficult. I just love having conversations, and somehow... I think my podcast is my journal, maybe.
It could be.
That could be.
No, because do you know what?
It's not about me. It's not
about you, and I think there has to be some private space in your life where you can be brutally honest and extremely vulnerable. And I don't even think it's about doing it with other people. I think it's between you and God. Yeah, you and God, and you and you, because even sometimes people use God as like a crutch, like kind of something to lift them up, but they don't really know who they are. Yeah. And then when they start losing their faith, they don't have anything else to fall back on. They don't even believe in themselves.
That's really true. You need to know yourself
100%
and God. Yeah. That is true. So with everything you do, and we're definitely going to talk about Peppa Your Talk and the Junior Network. But do you have, because we were talking about a support system, right? Yeah. Do you have a team? Do you do everything by yourself? Yeah. How do you do that?
I do everything by myself. I've had amazing interns and amazing support over the years. Like a girl, Akila, she helped me for 2 years, like ride or die, everything. Right now, I'm working alone, and it's intentional because I really want to create succinct processes. So that when I do employ someone, it's a case of like, this is our brand handbook. This is everything we stand for, everything we do. This is how you upload an article on Instagram. This is our tone of voice. And then I can just trust them to get on with it. Because I've birthed the business from a place of it being super personal.
How do you now translate that to? And that's funny because we had a conversation with Jefferson from Daily Paper, and it also started with 3 guys. Now they have 60 people working for the brand. And I was also like, how do you keep that same energy? How do you make sure that they understand the vision?
Absolutely.
That's really hard. I can imagine, because Peppa Your Talk is so personal to you. But can you tell me a little bit more about Peppa Your Talk, the services? What do you provide for these graduated fashion students?
So I always say, and I'm always honest, and I feel like Peppa Your Talk does a lot of nothing, which is what I'm changing. So for years, I was finding my feet. I do things, so I guest lecture at a lot of universities around the country. I speak about career confidence, understanding the corporate world, and how to position yourself as a high-performing professional, all that type of stuff. I just think I did lots of random bits and pieces, and I did things that other people wanted me to do. Can you speak here? Can you do this? Can you? And I'm like, yep, sure. And I found out, actually, I knew that I was making money in ways that I didn't fully enjoy. And my big question for myself was, by the end of 2020, I want you to find a means of making money that feels completely like you. And I hadn't had that yet. And you had to make the money, but I just didn't know. It just wasn't fun.
That's really interesting, because how long have you been doing Peppa Your Talk now?
Like 4 years.
4 years. And you've actually now realize that you've been doing things that other people have been asking you to do,
which is important.
But now the big question is, what do you want to do with Peppa Your Talk?
I don't want to be a slave to my business. I don't want to be a workaholic. I don't want to be always on my laptop, always on my phone. That's not the type of wife, mother, person, sister, daughter, whatever. I don't want to be that type of person. So that was my big question for myself. So like I said, I feel like I did a lot of nothing for a long time. It was useful. It helped people. I have success stories. There's testimonials. There's proof.
Definitely, 100%.
But it wasn't streamlined enough for me. So now I created a CV workbook, a cover letter workbook. So career tools, and that's one of our strands, like simple career tools. Because I feel like there's a lot of, the working world is very complex, and it doesn't need to be. Like everything should be broken down.
It's so true. Even Kanye West posted on, made a tweet saying that contracts have been too complicated. Just make it simple.
That's intentional though, to trick people up.
To trick people,
But, the whole premise of Peppa Your Talk is to kind of make the working world feel approachable, friendly, simple. And I'm going to do that through more events. Like I did a webinar on how to position yourself on social media as a busy professional, more workbooks, so the tools, and I'm going to put this out there and kind of shock myself into doing it, but I am creating a course, which again plays on my strength, so that's something that I can deliver authentically.
Is it an online course?
It's going to be, an online course. So it's going to be, I guess, split into 3 modules. So one is, and these are the 3 areas that I know professionals always want help in. No matter what question they ask me, it links back to this. So it's, I guess, how to be a top performing professional in terms of how to network. So build a network and leverage your network.
Which you have done perfectly, so you're the perfect person to
how to make more money. Because a lot of fashion isn't the best paid industry when you are a junior. So it's how to,
that's interesting,
I guess, expand on your salaries, and then how to set clear career goals. People have goals and they're not linked to anything big. I don't know, it's just weird. And I did
I think it's really difficult, because this time that we're in now, especially for creatives, if you look on social media, Instagram, it looks like everybody is just winning and doing their own thing. So how can you be honest with yourself and listen to your own thoughts if you're seeing all these things that could trigger you or make you insecure? It's really hard. So I think it's really good that you have this platform where you help these fashion graduates to figure out what they want to do. And also, I had a question. Wait, I forgot about this question. I wanted to link it to this. Okay, continue. I'll probably remember what I wanted to ask you.
So that's essentially what I want to do. And I feel like I just want to help people be more of themselves.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to tell you who to be, how to act. I want you to just continuously dig deeper. Like, I read this quote this time last year, and it was like, this guy I can't remember his name, really, really famous artist, but they asked him, how did you create this sculpture out of a slab of marble? And he was like, I didn't create the sculpture, it was always in the marble, and I just chipped away the excess. And I thought that was so powerful, because also I read a quote in the same book, A Return to Love, that said, like, our essence is incorruptible. It's the part of us that is divine, and it's most like God, and it cannot be changed. And as we live and breathe and move through the world, we take on all these other aspects of our personality that aren't really us. So the idea is actually to unlearn and get back to our essence.
But I really love that. But how do you protect these fashion students from the fashion industry? Because yes, this is really beautiful, but when they work for a Burberry or another company, they will still face these issues.
It's important to, though.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, I'm not going to wrap you in a bubble wrap and protect you and say, be careful of this. I actually want you to go through tough experiences. I don't want you to lose yourself, but if you do, know that that's part of the process. Like, if you become the bitchy character, I want to be able to coach you back to becoming your sweet self, or the self that your mum knows, your dad knows, or your family knows.
That's
because
really
it's all
nice.
Character building. Like, everything we go through is testing our character.
True.
And what I don't like about fashion is that at the beginning of your career, you're made to feel so disposable, and like, everyone wants this job, and we're only going to pay you 18,000, and you should be grateful.
That's exactly what I was talking about the other day. I had a shoot for Glamour Magazine, and there was this girl. She was a makeup artist. And she was saying that she started as an intern, and the way they were treating her. And I was saying, I used to be an intern too. And I remember one day we were at a shoot, and the stylist was like, my assistant will come and pick it up. I had to go to the Levi's store. But when she said, my assistant is coming right now, I was like, who's the assistant? Me. And I just looked around, and it was raining outside. And she was literally like, these are my bicycle keys. God. Can you get the pair of jeans? And I literally had to like bike through the whole city to get these pair of jeans back to the photo shoot. Like, they do not respect.
But like, situations like that, even that, it's tough, whatever, it was raining. But at the same time, like, are you going to die?
No, and I do have to say, for me, I was like, okay, I guess this is part of fashion.
It is.
But what I'm more trying to say is that sometimes, like, people make it look like, yes, you have to go through all these things to become a fashion editor, to become this and this and that. You know, like this, the devil wears Prada type of thing. But you don't have to, it doesn't have to be like that. Exactly. But I do think that this generation needs to learn to sometimes go back to basic and to learn the simple steps. Just to be around people that are professionals and to build up a network, right? Because you also have another platform, the Junior Network.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So the Junior Network was birthed.
I love how you smile like, yes.
I love speaking about them. So Peppa Your Talk started first. And like I said, it was like, I just knew that young people needed support. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I knew I had learned a bit. The Junior Network was more specific in its purpose, in that when I was at Burberry, I just wanted fashion friends, and I didn't come from a background where I instantly had access, or I was going to amazing events straight away and stuff like that. And I just thought, that's not fair. Like, there's a whole tribe of young people who are hungry and ready and friendly. That's the most important thing to me. And want a network so that they can kind of rise up together with this cohort of amazing people and just kill it. So I thought, why don't I just create this like membership where you pay it minimal? The first year was like £12.50 a month. Like less than, I always say, it's less than a cocktail a month. Like, it's so cheap. So the idea was to create, every year we'd have a cohort of up to 50 people so that you can actually get to know one another. And we broke the year, it was a members club basically. Broke the year up into 4 quarters which were themed. So under each theme, we would have a panel discussion on that theme, a brand-led workshop, workbooks, and networking experiences with each other.
Okay.
So the themes were, if I can remember, self-advocacy, success, innovation, and tenacity.
I think I was at Tenacity, right?
Maybe. Oh yeah, you came.
I was
to
at one of your events where I helped you with social media.
Yeah,
I was your social media girl.
So on point that day.
I helped with for the Instagram Instagram stories that time, right?
Yeah, you did. Mm-hmm.
I did Instagram stories for your platform, and it was in collaboration with the Hoxton Hotel.
The Hoxton Hotel.
It was really cool,
Yeah,
and you had interesting panel guests as well.
Yeah, that day we had Donna Wallace, who was she still is the fashion and accessories editor for Vogue.
Yeah.
Kobe Yates, who was the sportswear editor for ASOS, and we had Octavia Bradford, who was the women's wear buyer for Brown's Fashion.
Oh,
so
yeah.
The idea was to have juniors connect with seniors, so that we are bridging that gap, closing all the barriers to access, and allowing them to hear what it takes to get to the top.
Okay, that's what I love about these two platforms, because for instance, I started with Young the Agency, which is a creative agency where we help brands with consultancy and we create and think about creative campaigns.
Yeah.
Through Young the Agency, I created Stories of Young, the podcast.
Yeah.
Because as an agency, I was like, okay, cool. I want to start a creative agency, but I don't have clients yet. How can I show people my work? Right. Because as a creative agency, that's the first thing they're going to ask. Okay, what have you worked on? So my idea was like, okay, let me then start a podcast, Stories of Young. Well, the reason of starting a podcast is deeper, but it was also connected to Young the Agency, as in Young does the production for Stories of Young, so that people could see the level that we can create on. So what I also love about Peppa Your Talk and Junior Network is that through Peppa Your Talk, you started a new platform.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, a lot of people were like, Young the Agency, Stories of Young, I'm confused. What is, do you have the same? Like,
always.
Do people ask, what's the difference between Peppa Your Talk? Yeah, how do you?
Always. And I even get confused sometimes. Like when I'm creating new products, I'm like the course that I'm doing now, I'm like, should it be for Peppa Your Talk or the Junior Network?
Because I believe like the core is always the same.
Yeah, it is the same.
Actually, it's just a different.
Yeah, it's about supporting people's career endeavors. Like that is the core, that's the business. So yeah, I even get confused. I don't blame people, but I always say Peppa Your Talk is for students and graduates, and the Junior Network is more for not established, but people who have jobs but just under 5 years experience. Okay. Well, that's really clear. Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Okay. And for the fashion students who are listening now, or even watching this video, what advice would you give them?
So I could give them tons of advice. The two things that I like to focus on is confidence and contacts. So I always say, build your confidence. Like, give yourself tests every day to push yourself. Even if it means like I'm going to go to an event and I'm going to sit at the front today instead of the back. Yeah. That's one mini test and you're going to feel proud of yourself. That's going to build your confidence and it's going to help you with networking and building your contacts. Or it could be I'm going to go to an event and I'm going to speak to 2 people and I'm just going to ask them 2 questions. You have to know people. Like even though people say your network is your network, blah, 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 it's true, but it's deeper than that. I think it's really about having a core group who understand you and are going to continuously push you to do more, do better, go harder, and open doors for you, give you opportunities that are not openly advertised.
But aren't these things that's supposed to this? Because it's quite hard. Like you have your group of girls in London, Mercedes, Olivia, Velma, love Velma, and even Velma gave you what I just love about what you guys are doing is that Velma has live talks, right?
Yeah.
It's just a huge platform.
All of us have something. Velma has live talks.
Mercedes has Social Fix.
Yeah, Olivia has Life of a Marketing Girl.
Exactly. And what I just love is how you guys support each other. But my favorite collab, what I've seen of you guys, is how Velma actually gave you a platform to host live talks, which gave you the opportunity to speak to Yvette, who was the publicist of Beyonce. You went live with Swiss Beats. You know, like it's amazing how you guys can help each other. So I definitely believe that, yes, you need to have a core group of people, creatives, friends that can help you. But what if you're an introvert? Because I always say I'm
there's a word for it.
Yeah, I'm an extrovert introvert.
There's actually a word. I can't remember.
Is there a word?
Yeah,
because I can be an introvert, but I can also be an extrovert, and it's sometimes I'm just in the middle. Like yesterday, we even went to an event, and you were talking. I'm like, Dior, you're so good. You just walk up to people, and I
spoke to one person,
but that one for me was even like, oh, no, I don't feel like talking to anybody. And then people are like, when I say that, people are like, but you have a podcast, you talk so much, but it's different.
I'm the same.
So what advice would you give to people that are like, okay, I hear you. I'll go to events. I'll make notes. I'll sit in front of the space, and I'll ask questions. But then when it comes to like speaking to people, that could be scary for a few. So
it can, but this is the trick that people miss with networking. You don't go up to someone and read your CV, or you don't go up to someone and say, so me and my mom, we don't get along, and my dad's gone, and my dog died.
What if they're like, oh, okay, nice to meet you. So what do you do? Because that's always the first question.
That's quite a boring question. You can ask that, but
if they ask you, what do you do? That could be like, if you feel like, first of all, I'm an introvert and I don't really know what I do.
I went through a period where I didn't tell people what I did. I was so, like, I kept getting messages on Instagram, like, you're so inspirational. I love your business. And I was just thinking, I'm just more, excuse me. I'm more than this business. Like, I don't live to work. So I'd go to events and we'll go around the table. I remember specifically I went to this like networking brunch at Nobu. Velma organized it. And everyone was going around saying what they did. And it was people from America, LA, New York, this, that. And everyone was like, okay, I work in music, I work in A&R, I do this. And I was just like, I'm Dior and I am a Christian and I like people and I'm friendly. And everyone was like, say more then. And I was like, no, I'm not going to allow you to define me by my job. I literally stopped. I was just like,
That is, oh my God, I love this. I don't know. I think when this comes out, it's probably already online. But I wrote an article about this because I'm going to write for Glamour Magazine.
Oh, nice. Is that exclusive?
Yes, kind of exclusive, but I feel like people are will already know this when this comes out. But and the title of the article, it's in Dutch, so I have to translate it in my mind now. But it's, what do you say when people ask you who you are? And then I start with, I'm Ashlee Janelle, I'm a creative consultant, I'm 29 years old, is the answer, is what I answered with somebody asking me who I am. And then it's like, isn't it funny that we describe ourselves with what we do and not with who we are. Right? Because by saying, oh, I am Ashlee Janelle and I have my own creative agency, I still haven't said anything yet.
You haven't, and the conversation is only now going to follow the line of like like that's the bait you've given them, and then they're going to go deeper into that.
So I love what you said because and then after the article I end with, I'm Ashlee Janelle, I'm a loving person.
I love that.
I'm creative, I'm very ambitious, blah blah blah. Who are you? Like more, I really believe that people should start introducing themselves like for who.
It's deeper.
It's deeper, exactly.
That's such a good point because. So the Junior Network, I did a, mentorship program this year. And each member had a mentor who's like a senior in the fashion industry. And then when lockdown started, I was like, okay, I feel disconnected from these girls now. So look, we need to do something. So we created an accountability group where every other Monday we would be on Zoom for an hour. All of the girls anyone that joined that week, the call that week would have 5 minutes to update us on what they were doing.
Good.
And we'd had this Google Doc where they had to put in their 2-week goals. So we would literally go around and say, have you achieved it? Have you achieved it? And that was fine. That worked extremely well. The one thing all the girls kept saying is, it's lockdown. I don't know what to say to my mentor. I don't know what to say to my mentor. Like, I feel like they're busy. I feel like they're stressed. And what I realized is that I missed a huge trick in that I thought I was giving them this amazing access to someone they otherwise wouldn't have to have an intimate kind of conversation, do you know what I mean? Like a one-on-one relationship for a whole year. And I realized that I created this structure of how the meetings should go. Like, so it was 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes of 20 minutes catching them up on what you've been up to, what hasn't worked, planning, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, the first couple of meetings should have been bring an object and tell them what it means to you.
Wow.
Or 20 minutes, no phones, and speak about an experience that changed your life.
Yeah.
But it can't be work related. So I've completely changed it now. And now it's like the first meeting, you can spend 5 to 10 minutes at the end speaking about work. But the first 40 to 50 has to be, and I've set them similar questions to what you gave me today, because we're not connecting on a deep level anymore.
No.
It's all about the value exchange.
Yeah.
What can you do for me? What can you do for me? I can do this for you. Can you do this for me? Which is fine. Everything is a value exchange.
But I'm missing this deeper level, and that's what I love, and that is actually also the perfect end for this whole season. Impact over popularity.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Dior.
That was way too quick.
I know, right? These conversations, I mean, we were just on and on. And then now we have
gotta go. That was a tease.
I know. But that means that these people who are listening and watching should definitely follow you.
Yes,
follow me. And then, like we said in the beginning, you never know, maybe we'll do something in Ghana again.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That would be really fun. So yeah, tell the people, where can they follow you or the platform?
Okay, so first and foremost, thank you for listening. Go look. First and foremost, thank you for listening to me. You really didn't have to. I can be found on Instagram. So my personal page is Dior Bediako. I always introduce myself by saying Dior is my real name, so I'm just going to tell you now.
Yeah, you do, yeah.
People always ask.
Dior is her real name.
It's my real name, so you can find me at Dior Bediako. That's my personal page. Also, Peppa Your Talk and the Junior Network.
Yes, that's it. Thank you. And you're flying back to Amsterdam,
to
London
tonight.
Yeah. So this is amazing, and we're definitely going to do something in London, definitely.
Yes,
so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, bye, guys.